Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you are enjoying this 4-day holiday weekend. Glad you've joined us. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about real estate construction, real estate development, economic development, really, the city growing more prosperous and more vibrant and more affluent with all of our business investments and everything else. So glad you're with us. And I want to thank our sponsors. They are Dingman's Collision Center with 4 metro area locations, as well as Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym with an Omaha location in Papillion near Highways 50 and 370. Now, without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who has moved past his tryptophan coma and is ready to go to work this morning here in the Penthouse studio, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving weekend, and it has gone fast. Hope you had a good one.
And then we also want to bring on Brad Williams from Brad Williams Photography, along with E&A Consulting, an outstanding civil engineering firm in Omaha. Brad does quite a bit of photography work for us and a lot of other just kind of jack of all trades Omaha work with us. And Brad, it's always good to have you here back in the studio.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. And, a lot of times when Brad joins us, you know what that means. It's the call-in show. We do it several times a year. And it's a chance for you to call in and ask any Grow Omaha related question that's on your mind. Perhaps you drive by a construction site and you think to yourself, what exactly is that? You could call about that. Or maybe you have a comment about, a retail business or anything related to Omaha growing bigger, more vibrant, and more prosperous. We'll take those questions. We're going to do the news here in a moment, but when the news is over, we'll open up the phones. You may want to call early to get in queue. The phone number is 1-800-543-1110. That is 1-800. Oh, no, we don't do that 800 number.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
1976.
So, Trenton, that's a different part of your life. So, yeah, I was a little confused. I had to look at the number because I started to say the number, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is it? No, go 402-558-1110. 402-558-1110. I'll try to get my head in the game, ladies and gentlemen. 402-558-1110. But first, it's time for our news of the week. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who brings the news to you? That's Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage Company, it is under the leadership of Holly Schneiderwind, who does a fantastic job of taking care of Eagle Mortgage clients. So buying a house, one of the biggest purchases most people ever make, and you want to make sure you do it right. You want to make sure you feel good about it, and Eagle Mortgage will help you. They are not a bank. They are not beholden to a bank. They can shop the market and find the best lending solution for you, and they'll do that. So it doesn't matter whether you go FHA, VA, or if you want to do a conventional loan. They even do some specialty loans as well. And you can find them in person at 114th and Davenport or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. All right, gentlemen, the first story of the week is down in the riverfront area. We're going to be talking about the Beam, which is a 17-story building that new style development is going to construct along the northern edge of Heartland of America Park. And we're also going to talk about the new Children's Museum, which is planned for the same area. An agreement between the city and the Omaha Children's Museum will be reviewed by the city council over the next few sessions. In fact, they had a reading just last week, but the Children's Museum will be at 8th and Douglas, hugging the south side of the I-480 overpass. It will be 75,000 square feet. The current location at 20th and Howard is 60,000 square feet, so it'll be a growing sort of situation, so they can add more exhibit space and do some new features. We're going to have a cafe and a couple other cool things. At any rate, under the agreement, the city will lease land to the museum for 99 years. Construction will begin in 2025, and the completion date is anticipated to be 2027. Meanwhile, before we analyze this, though, the Beam is also going before the planning board next week, and that is the new style development that we already referred to. This revolves around getting their tax increment financing, and that project We now know the total cost is estimated to be $87 million, and the estimated completion date is March of 2028. So, moving forward with both of those projects, it also involves 2 city-owned parking garages. It's going to be quite the place.
I like it. I think that it's a great use of a very narrow space, and it's a better location for the Children's Museum. It'll have parking, a residential component, and it's just an addition on everything that we're doing down there.
And it's going to look super cool. I mean, that's one of the neat things is how visible it's going to be to everyone that comes to our city. And I also like how much land it's going to open up for redevelopment down on the southwest end of downtown.
Oh, yeah, because when the current Children's Museum vacates that area, yeah, that would be an area that would be totally primed for residential development, like a lot of those 8 to 10-story type residential buildings. But both of you talked about, how it'll look and how it'll fill that small spot that's right there. One of the things we want to do with the new plan, and the streetcar makes this much more possible, is to have tremendous density. Because there is no better form of development for making a city's infrastructure kick off a lot of tax revenue than dense downtown style development. And so to put that many apartments and that many visitors and that much activity on what right now, when you drive by, it seems like a throwaway piece of land, is pretty darn impressive.
And that piece of land's been empty since they built 480, as far as I know, back in what would that be, the 50s?
Yeah, I think I wasn't around, but I think 480 was late 50s? Maybe it was the 60s before that part was completed. I might have to check my Omaha history.
So we're going to make use of a piece of land that's been empty for a long time.
But the other thing, when it comes to design, and the one thing about these philanthropic and public buildings, like the addition to the Jocelyn, which is free, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at that, there's an aerial on Facebook from the Jocelyn, the shape of that building, there's not many square right corners. It is so cool how the building just kind of floats. And same thing with this Children's Museum on the look of it. Just make it nice.
Yeah, I think both the rendering of the Children's Museum and the Jocelyn addition to which you referred look great. Now, I've not been in the inside yet. I still need to get in there, but I know, Trenton, you've been in the inside of the Jocelyn.
It's just as cool. The ceiling's not flat. It flows. They did a great job in connecting it to the original portion, and well worth it.
Well, we have progress at Heartwood Preserve. Olson is building a 4-story office building that will be part of the row at Heartwood Preserve. This will be kind of like a little part of that whole development that'll remind you of Exarban Village. Overall, Heartwood Preserve is a 500-acre development that goes from West Dodge Road on the north to about a half mile south of Pacific Street on the south. And, it surrounds 3 parts of Millard North High School. We already have offices there for Carson and Union Bank and the world headquarters of Valmont. We got Charleston's and Mahogany. There's a lot more to come. But this 4-story building will be the first building of this kind of central walkable village part of it that I already mentioned is called The Row. We'll have 300 employees in there. Completion is due for 2026. And in addition to that building, you are going to have a multifamily residential building and a 4-star hotel and a lot more, but those are already on the drawing board.
Well, already go into that Gunderson's. It's got a big mezzanine for the nuptials and weddings and things like that. That Gunderson's jewelry store is just as nice as anything in Omaha. I mean, it is beautiful. They've done a great job. Then the next door to that is the new 30 hop or 40 hop?
30 hop.
30 hop. We went to a soft opening of that. It was delicious. And above that is the private club, Apiary or
Apiary?
Apiary, thank you.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times with a friend. That place is beautiful, and I recommend checking it out, maybe joining. But for me, it's kind of like having a friend with a pickup truck. Like I have a couple friends that belong there.
Probably not a lot of pickup trucks going to Apiary, are there?
No, but when you need a pickup truck, it's better to have a friend that has one or a boat.
Amen. Elkhorn Training Camp is expanding to Gretna. The organization has started building Phase 1, which is a 35,000 square foot indoor training center which will have 11 batting cages, 10,000 square feet of open turf, and a 5,000 square foot performance center for strength and conditioning. The facility is located in the Gretna Landing development, big development northwest of 192nd and Highway 370. This Elkhorn training camp already has a 60,000 square foot building, appropriately enough, in Elkhorn at 715 North 210th Street. But guys, this is just one of many things going into this Gretna Landing project. Already, several things are open, and right now you have an Aldi store under construction, a very large apartment complex. There's an Arby's and a couple other pad site users like that are coming along. And then eventually, they don't seem to be in a hurry, but eventually Fleet Farm is going to be building in that area. And then if you look at the rendering that they have for Gretna Landing on the north side, one of the renderings says medical campus.
Right.
The other rendering says corporate campus. So something big.
I think that out-of-town group bought a bunch of land there from Access Commercial.
I say there's a couple different areas out there on that 370 corridor that you see medical campus kind of labeled on some preliminary site plans. So.
Yeah, but then one I saw just recently said corporate campus.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was basically a different wording for the same thing, or if there's something else in the works. But we will find out. We're going to keep our eye on that, and we will let you know. All right, last story for this week's news section. Cool story. This will make you feel really good about what we're doing here in Nebraska with our Nebraska economy. Google has invested $930 million in our state just in 2024. That large capital investment has gone toward projects like the massive data center at 120th and State Street, part of which is already operational, but they're still going to build a lot more there. And then they also earlier this year started construction of a Lincoln data center on the north side of town, north of Interstate 80. Also, Google has revealed it has provided a $250,000 grant to the NU System for Artificial Intelligence Research and similar grants to Creighton University and the Lincoln Public School District. So Google keeps going forward in Nebraska. You know, they already have a huge Papillion data center, which is up and operating and pretty much done, I think.
Not to mention the 1,000 acres they have down in south of Council Bluffs,
which they are still expanding, and that doesn't count because it's Iowa, but they're still expanding that project quite a bit. So I assume they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars in 2024 on the Council Bluffs side as well. At any rate, that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. We are going to take your calls when we come back. We've got Cheryl on the line, but other than that, we're waiting for your call. You can call at 402-558-1110, 402-558-1110. And when we come back, we'll take those calls. You're listening to Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, and Brad Williams on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And we're back, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, 4 metro area locations, all of them doing a great job of providing body work for your car and some mechanical care for your car as well. Thanks also to Cheer Athletics for being our other title sponsor. They do a fantastic job. We've got Brad Williams with us. He is the proprietor of Brad Williams Photography, also with E&A Consulting, an outstanding civil engineering firm here. It's the call-in show where we take your calls, and we've got 4 people queued up. The first one is Cheryl. Cheryl, welcome to Grow Omaha.
Thank you.
What's your question today, Cheryl?
Good to be here. On 132nd and Fort, the Come and Go there's a big building going in just south of the Come and Go, across from the Italian America. And I just wondered what that building was. There are no signs indicating what it is.
It is a basketball training center. I don't remember what the exact name of it is, but it's, these youth sports training facilities are a huge business all over the country and certainly here in Omaha. And that one is a basketball training center.
Training center. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you calling, Cheryl.
So, Jeff, I think that in 10 years, Omaha is going to produce unbelievable college and professional athletes. The amount of soccer, baseball, basketball, hockey, everything, youth sports has got to be the most growing business and the most expensive for young parents.
Very, very lucrative industry. All right, now let's go to Julie has a question. Julie, welcome to Grow Omaha. Hi, Julie.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Julie, what's your question today?
Just a week or so ago on TV, on the regular station, there was a big article about pharmacies. And after that, the word was desert, D-E-S-E-R-T. CVS, I don't know that we want to go into the name of the pharmacies, but what is that about, pharmacies desert?
Oh, okay. So basically, that's a term that people use for an area, whether it's in a city or a rural area, where there are no pharmacies within a certain amount of geographic space. And so sometimes people will say, okay, well, certain neighborhoods don't have enough grocery stores, so they call it a food desert. And so a pharmacy desert is just kind of another iteration of the existing term for food desert, but that's what that means. And so,
so there would be a vacancy of pharmacies in those areas.
And as like some people are going more towards mail-in pharmacies, and there's a lot of competition, and so we occasionally see pharmacies closing soon. Like Trenton, we've lost several CVS's in this market in recent years.
Right, 132nd and Center Street as well. But you're also seeing industries change over time, and we haven't seen it here yet, but I know that Walgreens has played with like a couple thousand square feet, almost the size of a quick service restaurant where they'll have a drive-through, and they'll just have the pharmacy and refill prescriptions and things like that, as opposed to selling all kinds of holiday goods and not having a 14,000 square foot store. So when you put together mail order, you put together home delivery, you put together specialty pharmacies, I think it's just another industry that's changing. And so Walgreens and CVS both have announced that they're going to close several hundred stores around the country. How it affects Omaha, we'll have to see. We saw a couple from CVS go down, but I think there's plenty of places to get your drugs.
All right, Julie, appreciate you calling in today. And we now go to Bill, who has the next question for us. Good morning, Bill, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning, gentlemen. My question is kind of a fun question, I guess. Mutual of Omaha Tower is being built as the corporate headquarters for that organization, and same thing with Applied Underwriters. Now, the Mutual Tower seems to be going gangbusters, but Applied Underwriters seem to be stuck in the mud. So, in your humble opinions, which building is going to get completed and open first?
Well,
just kind of a fun question.
My guess is Applied Underwriters would be completed first, just because the exterior is there.
You got a few years head start too.
Started in 2019, if I remember correctly, and a big part of that building was to put 1,000 parking spots underneath it, and all of that's done. I know, Brad, you've kind of tracked both those buildings pretty carefully. I mean, they're totally different animals.
Yeah, and someone shared some pictures on Facebook the other day of inside the Applied Underwriters, and it actually looks like they're working on interior finishes now.
Okay.
It's not just a steel frame in there anymore. But
yeah, I live near there, and it just seems like, it just seems like there's nothing there. There's hardly any cars out there, and you just see the construction zone signs, and I'm like, when is that ever going to get done?
Great landscaping, though.
And they don't.
Yeah, that's absolutely, it's beautiful.
And they don't. Yeah, I don't think anyone would accuse them of making haste with that project. But I will say what they have done looks shockingly impressive. I mean, you drive by, the presence is just amazing. But yeah, you would think they would want to hustle it up a little bit.
So I just a couple weeks ago took some aerial photos of that building. Maybe we'll share one on the Grow Omaha page here this week.
That'd be great. That'd be cool.
That sounds like maybe a featured project of the day, Brad.
There you go.
Imagine what 1,000 to 1,100 parking stalls underground look like when you have no surface lots. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
That is cool.
Thank you so much, Bill. We appreciate you calling in. John, we want you to hang on because we are going to break for the news. But John, you stay with us, please. And then after John, the phone lines are open, 402-558-1110, 402-558-1110. Get your questions in about anything related to what's being built in town or projects and all that stuff. It's kind of, it's a fun episode to have this call-in show. We want your questions and your comments as well. Jeff Beals, Trenton Maggot, and Brad Williams are in studio. Thanks to Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center for bringing the show to you. And we'll be back after this on News Radio 1110 KFAB. All right, it's the call-in show. John and Bruce, stay with us. We're just about ready to take your calls. But first, we want to thank Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics for being our sponsors. Cheer Athletics is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. And by the way, all-star cheer is going to be an Olympic sport in the 2028 Olympics. And so if you want to get involved in an outstanding way of competing and learning and growing, have your kids become part of the All-Star Cheer Revolution, go to caomaha.com, CA as in Cheer Athletics, caomaha.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, in which we share news from one of the many Noddle Company's developments around town. There are a lot of them to choose from. Noddle Company's does headquarters buildings like HDR and Valmont and so many others. Noddle Company's does spaces and places like Exarban Village and the Builders District and many, many others. And this week's Noddle Company's spotlight is going to be on Exarban Village. And unfortunately, we've got some bad news, but there's always a silver lining with every piece of bad news. The bad news is at Exarban Village that after 50 years, Spirit World will close. The address is 6680 Center Street, right on the corner of the entrance, the south entrance to Exarban Village. Closing is going to be early 2025. The family-owned wine and spirit store will continue serving customers through mid-January. Spirit World's bar will remain open until further notice. Loyalty points must be redeemed by December 24th, Christmas Eve. Gift cards will expire after the closure. But Spirit World really had a nice run in Omaha. And, one of the founders of Spirit World was none other than Harlan Noddle, who founded...
I had forgotten that, but I had known that. They were a tenant of ours at 114th, where Nebraska Dance is, Davenport Square. They were also in the Peaches Plaza for a long time, if you remember, on... Pacific Street.
Yeah, great business, great people, and sad to see them go. But the one thing about great real estate developments like Exarban Village, when one tenant goes, another one comes in. So we will look forward to the day when we get to make an announcement about what will be replacing Spirit World
location
at Exarban Village. And that is your Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, noddlecompanies.com. All right, John has been waiting a very long time, and we appreciate your patience. John, welcome to the show. You are next.
Thank you for taking my call. I was wondering what's going on almost that entire square block that's just west of the Kaneko downtown.
Okay, that is going to be a park open to the public. I believe it is being developed by a private entity, but it'll be an open to the public park. They are going to save the little historic building that was once part of a beer brewery complex. And of course, they'll save the Bemis building. So it'll just kind of wind through there. There will be a little playground area. I think they're going to have a rain what do they call it? A rain park or rain garden? Rainwater garden or something like that. They'll have some landscaping, seating areas. If I remember correctly, there might even be a little bit of a cafe, an outdoor cafe for part of that. So it'll be a nice addition to the old market. And then what I personally hope is that because of this park, maybe you will see, a couple more multi-family buildings built right around it. I mean, just to the west, there's a little one-story building that could be replaced, and that would be a nice place for redevelopment, but it'll be a nice attribute for that part of town.
Well, thank you.
I think it's also going to be a nice just connection to the 13th Street corridor, which has really taken off in the last few years.
Yeah, all the connectivity downtown that really helps to get people walking rather than riding, and hopefully they don't need the scooters all the time either.
All righty. And then we now go to Bruce, who has a question about some development in Carter Lake. Good morning, Bruce, and welcome to the Grow Omaha Show.
Thank you. I want to know what's happening into the industrial area that is slated as west of Carter Lake and north of Carter Lake.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about big plans to create large areas of industrial development as part of the ARPA money that came to the state.
Inland Port?
Yeah. Yes, part of the inland port. We're pretty early in that whole process.
But I think that's an old landfill, isn't it?
Part of it is.
Yeah, but where they're building, like you said, it's so early in the process. They just announced it, so they're probably starting, working on their plans and doing their due diligence. And
They announced it about 9 months ago.
yeah, but in the development world, that 9 months is pretty early on the front end of things.
And it's a quasi-public, quasi-government entity, too, and there's a whole board that will oversee the inland port, and then it's those gentlemen...
Omaha Economic Development Corporation is involved in. And I tell you, it's going to be my guess is a very long and very slow project because we're talking about two specific areas. The one area, Bruce, that you mentioned to the west is, as Trenton said, on top of an old landfill. To the north of Carter Lake, there's going to have to be a lot of relocations of private residences, which is a time-consuming process and one fraught with some political difficulty. We need this. This is really good because we want to have that kind of development in the urban core, creating jobs for Northeast Omaha and taking advantage of tremendous infrastructure. Epley Airfield, North Freeway, proximity to I-29. It makes all the sense in the world, but it's going to be a slow mover.
And one of the fewer places in town that has rail access, too.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's the perfect place to do all this, but it won't come without its challenges. All right, Bruce, thanks for that call. Thanks for waiting. We're going to take our final call of the hour, and that honor goes to JJ. Good morning, JJ, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Love the show. Been listening for a long time. I live up at Northwest Omaha by Marion High School, and noticing on the north side of, on the west side of 72nd Street, 72nd State, it looks like an Amazon warehouse building. It has been vacant. I don't want to say how long it's been vacant, but I believe black and white TV still existed in those days. It's practically the carbon copy of the Amazon location on Cornhusker. I'm wondering, what in the heck are they going to do with that? That has been vacant a long time.
They've built buildings. Amazon has been infamous for building buildings around the country. If you remember, that was probably green-lighted during COVID times. So, to my knowledge, I've never seen it for lease or for them to like have a temporary tenant or something like that. My guess is that they're just putting it in mothballs until Amazon needs it. Have you guys heard anything different?
I've not heard anything different. And they also have a large fulfillment center in Council Bluffs that is also pretty much vacant, or if it's being used, it's being used very, very little.
Well, and Amazon's a big enough company and probably anticipates enough growth in markets like this that they can handle that. And so when the next surge of growth happens, hopefully it's not because of a pandemic ever again, but when the next surge of growth happens, they'll certainly have the infrastructure capacity to make it happen. But it is weird every time you drive by it because as industrial real estate goes, it's very, very nice and very attractive. And it is just so weird just to see it there empty.
They should do like a indoor drone park, like you could fight your drones or something like that during the winter.
We'll send that note to Bezos, Trenton, and make it an official recommendation from Grow Omaha. JJ, appreciate the call. Have a nice holiday weekend.
Thanks. Love the show, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. So let's go ahead and make that our last call of the hour. We're going to go ahead and take the final break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we'll talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. So stay with us. You are listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Thank you, Rosie, and welcome everyone back to Grow Omaha. It is time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a very short period of time. Perkins Kreitzer Construction is the entity that makes this possible. They are also the company that you want to keep top of mind when you need construction services. Doesn't matter whether you want to do a full-blown shopping center or office building or church or who knows what type of building, warehouse. They do all of that. But they're also a company that does a lot of interior build-outs. And when Perkins Kreitzer Construction does a new store or restaurant, we like to highlight that here in the section because it's just kind of a fun way for you to know what they do. And so this week's Perkins Kreitzer Construction the Week is a new Jersey Mike's Subs restaurant. It is taking over a former Tide dry cleaner space at 123rd and West Center Road in Westwood Plaza. So Perkins Kreitzer Construction just got the keys to the space, and they're going to start building out. Now, Tide is still there. Tide Dry Cleaners literally moved next door. And so the old Tide space is what Perkins Kreitzer Construction is turning into a Jersey Mike's store. And like I said, that build-out will begin soon. So you can find more about Perkins Kreitzer Construction by going to their website, which is p-cconstruction.com. All right, gentlemen, are you ready? First up,
ready.
Con Azucar Cafe, a California-based franchise, has opened its second Nebraska location. It's a coffee shop. The second location is in the Old Market, 1213 Harney Street, which is on the south side of the Old Market, just kind of across from the Farnham Hotel. Its other location is inside Isla Del Mar Restaurant at 132nd and Center. That opened in July. So this Con Azucar coffee place, the other locations are in San Jose and Bakersfield, California. So that's kind of a nice addition. And as luck would have it, I was down in the Old Market shortly after we found out that news. So I went by and snapped a quick picture. And I went inside. It was really cool inside. And one of the most colorful coffee shops I have ever seen. Neat place.
We need more coffee shops.
Sure. As long as the market is there, we'll take them.
It's a liquid business.
Red Lotus Thai Express is a restaurant specializing in Thai and Asian fusion cuisine. It is expected to open middle of December in Papillion. The address is 1449 Papillion Drive. The restaurant promises a mix of traditional and innovative flavors with menu items like crispy chicken, Yum Zap,
Love it.
ZAAP, and chicken and beef biryani. So that is coming to Papillion.
We have about 20 Indian restaurants in Omaha now, which is amazing.
And you can't have too many of those because I could eat Indian food. Well, I don't know if my digestive system would handle it well, but I could eat Indian food every day as far as the taste is concerned.
Better for lunch.
I love that stuff. Good point. Wiener Schnitzel, a popular California-based hot dog chain, getting close. We get a lot of emails on the Grow Omaha various forums. When's Wiener Schnitzel opening? Soon. They are now hiring. And talk to the landlord. The development's called MH Landing there northeast of 72nd and Grover. So I asked the landlord when. He thought Wiener Schnitzel could open by the end of the year. Now, it's going to share a building with Salty Dog, which is a sports bar out of Council Bluffs, opening a second location in Omaha. That will definitely be open in December. And so Wiener Schnitzel will have a drive-through. Salty Dog will be a traditional sports bar. Share the same building right there. Brad, that whole area has really popped up like crazy there at 72nd and Grover.
Yeah, it started with the one hotel, the dual brand hotel, and now there's two restaurants, two hotels, coffee shop, a liquor store, and a giant apartment complex that's gone up kind of almost in the back where a lot of people just on 72nd Street don't even see it.
And John Meyer and I have 4 acres, so if you want another hotel or office building or something like that, we've got 4 acres right at 70th and Grover. Give us a shout.
Pizza Hut has opened at 49th and L Street. The location, which opened November 22nd, includes a drive-through and a pickup window and a new menu items like sandwiches, apple pies at Pizza Hut, fried cheese sticks, and more. The franchise operates 70 locations across Nebraska, 20 of which are in the Omaha metro area. I think that was a rebuild, wasn't it?
Yeah, they tore down the old one and built a new one. And I was surprised because when's the last time there was a new ground-up Pizza Hut in town?
I don't know. Like, I probably haven't been to one in many years, but there you have it. Hey, here's some good news, fellas, for sushi lovers. And Trenton, this is not too terribly far from your neck of the woods. Baby Blue Sushi is now Blue Sushi Sake Grill. So it's not baby blue anymore. It's a full-blown blue sushi. They took over the 2,000 square feet that was next to them. This is in the Shops of Legacy, 168th and Center area. And everyone loves blue sushi.
We're very excited, and that's our favorite one. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's really close to you.
I think sushi is kind of like Indian food, where you could probably eat that every day too, right?
And it'd probably be pretty good for you. Yeah, maybe I'd lose a little bit of weight if I had sushi every day instead of what I normally have. All right, good news for construction nerds and construction aficionados. The Mutual of Omaha headquarters, the future headquarters, is far from done, but it is already the third tallest building in Omaha. It has passed up the Union Pacific Center and the Elmwood Tower. And so it's not done yet, but it's already the third tallest building in town.
And that photo that you posted the other day, the parking garage is maxed out already, the height of the parking garage. So we should actually start sometime soon seeing the tower go up now.
Yeah, which and along those same lines, the steel, because so far it's only been reinforced concrete, but now that the parking lot is maxed out, I would imagine, other than the concrete elevator shear tower, the rest of it is going to be steel beam.
Bring it on.
That's when you're standing there at like in front of Pickleman's or whatnot. That is a massive parking garage. I mean, you just don't ever see anything like that.
That's probably the biggest parking garage in town.
It's got to be 15 stories, an entire city block. It's huge.
Isn't it a couple thousand stalls?
Yeah.
People on our Grow Omaha Facebook page always question how long it's going to take a car to get to the 15th floor to park.
But they have a system where you skip a floor when you're going up outside. I believe so, yeah. So, all right, music's playing, which means that we have to be quiet. But Brad Williams, we always appreciate you joining us.
Hey, I always enjoy it.
Brad Williams of Brad Williams Photography and E&A Consulting. That's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Perkins Kreitzer Construction, along with Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center. We'll chat with you next week at 9, right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.